Obviously, you want to fight Jon Jones. This is the only sport that you can have somebody hold your career back.
I think I'm a bad matchup for him. I don't feel like I have a lot of miles on the clock, and the 32 is quite young for a heavyweight. But I would definitely fight if I could.
Talk to me about the dynamic of your father being your coach.
I consider myself very lucky because there's a lot of times that I didn't want to do the sport. A lot of the times, like, my dad reminded me, look, you can't stop now, like, you're right there, just keep going at it. I like wanting to quit so many times because I'm like, I just need to, like, get some money. I have the shortest UFC fight time average in UFC history.
I'm so pissed off that you haven't gone to the second round. Man, I want to see what happens if Tom gets in trouble in the fight.
Do you know what? Me too. I'm not joking.
Oh, it's 15-time world champion Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MIGHTYCAST.
Now, we are live in Manchester, England, with the heavyweight champion of the world, Tom Aspinall. This episode of the MIGHTYCAST is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game where you can play directly from your phone. It's very simple. Go to the App Store, download PrizePicks, and when you do that, make sure you use my promo code MIGHTYCAST. Cool promotion going on right now. All you gotta do is play $5 in your lineup, make your picks in the NBA, NHL, mixed martial arts, whatever it is, make your picks, and you're gonna win $50. And right now, we got the NBA playoffs going on right now. Make the playoffs more exciting by putting some picks that are going up. Just make sure you make the picks at the right place, which is PrizePicks. Now, let's not waste any more time. Let us enjoy this conversation with the great interim heavyweight champion of the world, Tom Aspinall. Enjoy. I don't like to do research on the guests. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. I want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from Wikipedia.
Yep.
I want to hear it directly from your mouth. Oh shit, coach and manager. Yeah. Okay, Dad.
You don't know our story, no.
I'll tell you.
I know he was looking to do some boxing, but then okay, all right, okay. Everybody's phone on silent. Here we go now. Test 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And what's your father's name?
Andy.
Andy.
Yep.
Andy Aspinall. How many kids you got?
Him and his brother.
Where's your brother?
Both 6'5", I'm 5'8".
So, how tall is your wife?
5'7".
5'7". Where's the height come from?
Grandmother. Her dad was big.
Oh.
His cousin's girl was 6 foot.
How was it growing up, like raising them when they're bigger than you? I'm gonna have to go through the same thing.
They weren't big. 16, we were similar heights. We were about 16.
Mm-hmm. And then how was it like when he was 18? Like, Dad, yeah, what's that?
I used to spar with him all the time.
Oh. So you already set the foundation when he was younger, so you whoop his ass. And then when he got older, he was like, hey, remember what happened? You were like...
He was about 17 or 18.
He's still rolling, though. He still rolls now. He's still rolling. 62. He's doing all right.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTYCAST. We are joined here by the great Tom Aspinall, heavyweight champion of the world. He's got more wins in the division than the current heavyweight champion, Jon Jones. Tom, welcome to the MIGHTYCAST.
Thank you for having me. We've been trying to work this out for probably close to a year.
Yeah, so you got sick, and your dog ate your stuff because you moved.
Yeah.
And
then we were trying to move house. We were trying to set a little studio up in the house, and then that came after like 50 other things that had to come in the house. Mm-hmm. But in all honesty, I think in-person podcasts just work out so much better anyway.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, especially because now I live like in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
The signal's all over the place. It cuts in and out. There's a little delay. It's just way better doing it in person, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I didn't know how often this is my first time in Europe, right? So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's my first time, right? Like we talked over WhatsApp that my dad, he grew up here in Kent, and I have uncles who live here. And so my dad was like, hey, let's go visit. Let's go to the UK. And I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. And sure enough, I booked a seminar in Keighley. And next thing you know, my wife's like, okay, we'll get the seminar. We'll make it happen. And we looked at the Airbnb where we're staying in Heathrow. She goes, babe, that's like fucking 5 hours.
Yeah, it's miles away. It's the other side of the country.
Yeah. I was like miles away. And I'm like 5 hours away. And I was like, we're going to make it work. And so we're here now in Keighley, and I was like, let me shoot out to, Tom to make sure, see if we can make this happen. And I'm truly grateful for your time, because I know you're like, dude, you might be at fight camp, you might be traveling, you might be doing something. So I'm glad it all worked out, and it was meant to happen.
It was meant to happen. And this place, Keithley?
Keithley, yeah.
You spell it nothing like that, and I didn't even really know this place existed, to be honest. So I'm people must be pretty shocked when they see you walking around this place.
They are like, what are you doing here? The guy out the street when you showed up, he goes, are you Demetrious? I was like, yeah, it's me. He goes, no, it's not. And he goes, show me your Instagram. I was like, why do I have to show you
your Instagram?
I was like, why do I have to show you my Instagram? I was like, why don't you just believe me? But I can understand. They say this place is Keithley is kind of impoverished. Like there's not a lot of big things going on here. You have the Mac Gym, which is pretty amazing for athletes to come here, train, and do some mixed martial arts. So, but yeah, it is definitely in the middle of nowhere, as everybody who lives here says that.
Yeah. I mean, we just drove basically through fields to get here. It was like, came off the motorway, we did like 20, 30 miles of fields. But it was a nice drive. It was cool.
That's what's up. Okay, so you get your dad here, you got your producer here, and before we, start talking, tell me your story, right? When did you start in martial arts or sports, right? Because I'm sitting here looking at your dad. He's 62. He looks like he still beat your ass, get the better of you. When did it all start for you?
So I had a little bit of a strange introduction to martial arts, I think. Because martial arts has, I think a lot of people, especially these days, is like they watch the UFC, they watch MMA, and they're like, that is what I want to do. They get involved with it that way. Whereas for me, it was like, oh God, sorry.
That's okay.
Don't want to ruin that. My dad was involved in martial arts, and it was just kind of like around the family for as long as I can remember. So again, it was way different to what it's like these days. Now you can walk down the street, you can find an MMA gym, there'll be 20 kids on the mats. Whereas when I started, it was like, I would go with my dad to jiu-jitsu classes, wrestling classes, boxing gyms and stuff like that. And it was just me and like a bunch of adults, basically. So it wasn't like, I've been going to the gym since I was like 8 or 9 years old, but I only really started properly training like MMA from probably being about 14, 15 or something like that. But I've been involved in martial arts since I was 8, 9 years old, something like that.
And so you were going because your dad, and did you do any other sports, or was it all just martial arts? Did you, like in high school, did you play football, basketball, swim? Or was it just all martial arts? Pretty
much. I've done bits of other stuff, obviously. I've done football, soccer, rugby, which is big here. But I didn't really like team sports, to be honest. And what I really liked actually about martial arts is it was like I say, I was a kid when I started.
Yeah.
And like I used to go into the gym and people would treat me the same as anybody else. I think that's something that people who don't do martial arts don't really understand. That is like, you can be any age, race, gender, whatever your job is, everybody treats each other exactly the same. And that's something that I always liked, is like, I always went in the gym and I always felt like at home in the gym. I always felt that's a nice place that I wanted to be. Whereas if I used to go football or rugby or other sports, I didn't really feel that. So I always, and also when I was growing up, I was like, my friends were into the other sports and I really didn't have much else to do apart from sit at home and watch TV. And my dad was always going out. So it was just kind of like a way to spend time with my dad as well. So that's how I kind of got into it, really.
Gotcha. And now, was it just straight into, because, as we were talking to your father, was it in one discipline, or was it just full-blown mixed martial arts? Because like you said, you're, 28, 27?
Now?
Yeah.
I'm 32 now.
You're 32 now. 32 now, right? So 32. So I'm, a couple years older. I'm 6 years older than you. So at that time, like you said, you walk down the street, you're going to see mixed martial arts gym, and they're going to provide everything. It's going to be, we have kickboxing, Muay Thai, and all that stuff. When you started, was it the same, or was it just one discipline in judo? Because your dad said he started with, you said boxing, judo. Yeah. What was it specifically your dad got you into, or was it the whole full meal deal?
No, it was way different back then. It was way. I think it's difficult for people to understand now, but it was way different. So my dad is one of the first UK BJJ black belts. So jiu-jitsu was obviously the thing that I was into the most. But at the time, there was like basically no kids doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like no.
Especially over here in the UK.
Especially like around the Northwest, there was like, maybe in London it was a little bit different, but on like the outskirts of Manchester, it didn't exist. So I used to go with my dad, but I was like 10, 11, 12 years old trying to train with like fully grown men. Yeah. So it didn't really work out that well. I was in the gym, but it wasn't like real training. So I would go to any combat sport that had kids in the gym my age. Now, sometimes that'd be a boxing gym. They'd have more kids in that gym. So I'd go there and then that kind of die off. And then I would maybe have a couple of boxing fights, and then I would say, oh, look at this wrestling club. Like, there's loads of kids in this club. Let's go there. So it would just be like that. I'd always sporadically be moving around the different aspects of MMA. And then by the time I got to like 15, 16, it was just like a natural progression of like, right, I've kind of competed in everything.
Yep.
I've done everything a little bit. Yep. And it was just like, oh. And then I realized like, oh, people are like doing this and getting paid for it. Like, people are not working a regular job. People are doing this. And that's just what I wanted to do then.
And when you were going around to these different gyms, because what I'm hearing is that you got not thrown into, but you got brought into it, and then you're exposed to each of these different disciplines of martial arts. Yeah. Where typically if you go to, a mixed martial gym today, you're gonna have, a boxing coach on the roof, this coach, this coach. You would go to that discipline, a boxing gym, and it's all boxers, and you immerse yourself into that sport, and then you go to a judo gym. When you were doing that, did you ever compete in that own discipline?
I compete in every discipline.
Oh, wow.
Everything. I've done, I think the only thing I've not done is, I think I did actually. Judo is the one thing I don't think I've competed in.
Wow.
Everything else, jiu-jitsu with a gi, no gi, wrestling, boxing, Thai boxing, kickboxing.
Goddamn.
Everything.
I would have never known.
Yeah, everything. I've competed in every individual discipline. And I still think it's important today to see. Now mainly my MMA training is MMA training. I don't train it too differently, but still I like to I'll go and spar pro boxers every now and again. I'll go and roll with pure jiu-jitsu guys every now and again, because I think it's still important to like stay sharp in the individual stuff as well. But I've competed in everything. That's why it was kind of so obvious for me when I got like of age, where like people are actually, and I got, I was a small kid, and I think that's something else that really helped me is like a lot of big guys my size, like I'm 6'4", 6'5", 250, 260. Like a lot of guys start when they're my size, and they have a lot of technical discrepancies because they are mainly being like, even though the technique's not up to scratch, they can usually do all right just because of the size of the guy.
Yep.
Whereas I started off, and the first, I got my ass kicked for the first, I was a kid. I was a kid training with men when I was like 12 years old. So I really knew how to be the nail, so to speak, for a long time. Whereas that, it was bad at the time, but looking back now, that was a big blessing for me, is that if I would have started now being the size and athleticism that I am, I probably would have been all right with most guys just because of the size of me. Whereas then I was nothing like I am now. So I think that's, I credit that for a lot of my technique now, I think.
But I also feel like you don't move like a heavyweight. You move like a fucking lightweight. Even like your movement reminds me of the old school Andre Arlovsky when he would move. You have a nice rhythm. You're lighting your toes. You're not plotty. You're not like walking like a duck like you usually see heavyweights. Like you move very, very light in your feet. And that's why I thought your background came from boxing. But now that I hear you were sprinkled in all these disciplines and you grew up into that, so your body grew into that athleticism, like that athleticism carried with you. Then when you started doing it and you were the nail for so long, now you're like, oh, I've done this for so long. I have a technique. I have athletic ability. Now it makes sense why you move so damn well. And you have that power to go along with it because you have the frame to complement all the technique you've done for so many years. Yeah,
I think that's something that me and my dad and other coaches as well, we were always aware that like, I want to keep that. Do you know what I mean? I want to keep that. And I mean, it's not just the speed, it's like the agility, the balance, getting up off the bottom. These are all stuff that heavyweights generally
don't have
and not very good at. And that's something that us from the outside, we were kind of aware of that as we kind of building my style. And we're still building the style, do you know what I mean? I don't think you're ever the complete finished product in MMA, and I think the day that you do accept that you're the finished product is the day that you're done, in my opinion. Like you should be always trying to improve yourself. And I think that's something that we were very aware that we need to keep on board is the agility, the movement, the in and out movements, the range, and all that stuff. Like I never want to give too much away when I'm speaking. But,
absolutely.
I think that it's super important, especially to have like you talk about the in and out style. That's more important at heavyweight than it is in any other division, because there are skill discrepancies at heavyweight, but the danger and the risk level is so much higher. Is that a guy who you're much better than skill for skill, they can just take you out with one shot. So you need that in and out movement more, in my opinion, than any other division.
What's going on, guys? This episode on the MightyCast is sponsored by Ridge wallets and keychains. They have the keychain if you have a lot of keys that are just laying around in your junk drawer and you want to consolidate them. This is the perfect bad boy for you. And then we also have the Ridge wallet. Now I love this because it's a very sleek, nice design, not very bulky. You know, nowadays everybody has these big fat leather wallets that, you know, just sticks out of the back pocket. But with the Ridge wallet, it's very nice, slim, and very easy to handle and carry. And it's very easy to use. Here's the money clip. I need the cash, boom, right here. Or if I need to get to the MX or the cards, it's very simple. All I gotta do is push up right here, boop, grab my cards, be able to use it. So if you guys want to get rid of that crusty old leather wallet that you carry around in your back pocket, make sure you guys go to ridge.com/MightyCast. Take advantage of the 40% off on Memorial Day sale. Shout out to Ridge for sponsoring this episode on MightyCast. Now let us get back to the great Tom Aspinall. Well, 1000%. You know, we keep, you know, referencing your upbringing. Talk to me about the dynamic, you know, of your father being your coach, trainer, manager. Like, what was that like growing up? You know, now you're 32, you're the champion of the world. Your dad's still here. He's sitting there, you know, just watching. Talk to me about like, what's that like? Like, you know, how, you know, were you able to differentiate, you know, okay, it's dad time. Okay, hey, it's all right, dad, I'll do that. Let me talk to me like, because I always saw Matt as a father figure because I didn't have a father growing up. You know, I couldn't imagine going home and I'm like, oh God, I want to play Call of Duty. Dad wants me to go to sleep. Talk to me about that dynamic of you and your father, manager, coach.
Well, it's difficult for me to say really because that's all I know. I don't know any different. I've considered myself very lucky because there's a lot of times that I didn't want to do the sport. Yeah. Especially like, I think a lot of people who are not involved with the sport and not fighting professionally don't realize how hard it is financially.
Oh, it is.
And especially when I like had kids and stuff.
Yeah.
I like wanting to quit so many times because I'm like, I just need to like get some money. Yeah. Pretty much. And then a lot of the times, like my dad reminded me, look, we've done this for a long time. You can't stop now. Like you're right there. Just keep going at it. Yeah. And I'm very, very lucky that I've got my dad. Not just for that, for plenty of reasons.
Of course.
But yeah, I don't know any other way. So it's difficult. But now I've got my own children. Yeah. I don't know if I could do it with my own kids, to be honest, because I think that it would. Well, I don't know.
Let me stop you there. If the money was better, do you think you would be able to have the motivation to put your kid, I mean, to force, not force, because I feel like if I say the force, I feel like you're saying, I'm saying that your dad forced you to fight. But from what I'm hearing is that like you enjoy the time with your dad and all that stuff, but there's times you're like, man, this is dad, why are we doing this? Like there's no money in it. Like I'm struggling. Like I'm the best in the world and I ain't making no money. But if the money was different, would you be more inclined or be more gung-ho about training your kids and be like, all right, we're going to do the same thing we just did with my dad. Obviously you're going to train with your kids. You're going to teach them how to fight and all that stuff. But would you like, you know, push them more to try to do it?
Well, things are changing now, financial wise, I think, a little bit. There's definitely more opportunities, especially for people in the UK. That's all I can judge on because I'm obviously from here. So,
gotcha. So you're saying if maybe you're in the States, you would say things are a little bit different.
I think there's definitely a lot more opportunities for fighters from the States.
Oh, gotcha.
100%. 100%.
Oh, okay.
But now there is like a bit more of a path to getting guys in the UFC and stuff, especially in the UK, with like kind of feeder shows and you know there's more UFC fighters, so more people are kind of more well connected and stuff. I don't know, because sometimes when like you know what it's like, parents want to come over and ask your advice on like what they should do with the kid, and like I don't feel like I never feel like I'm in a position to be like, this is what you should do with your kid. My advice would always be choose another sport, because it's really tough to make. Like me and you, we're in probably the 0.01% of people who have a good living for the family out of MMA. Like you probably know better than I do that 95% of people have never made any money who do MMA. And it's actually funny because I was at a local show recently and I brought a friend of mine with me, and the friend, like, he knows about MMA, but he's not involved in it. But he watches it, and like I went to school with him. He's like a lifelong friend, and it was a decent card, actually. There was like 20 fights on the card, so there was 40 fighters.
Damn.
So it's a lot.
That's a lot
big
of fucking
card.
fight. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's a good level event. And he was like, reading through the card, he's like, oh, who's good? I was like, oh, I recognize this guy. I've seen this guy fight before. This guy's good, whatever. And he said, how many of those people on the card will be able to buy a house from fighting? And I was like, you know what? Probably none.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. Like, it is so difficult. So, but on the flip side, it brings so much good.
Yeah.
I think it's an amazing thing for young men, especially, to get into, because it gives you a focus, it gives you a drive. I know that if I'm dicking around on a Friday night and I've got training on a Saturday morning,
You're going to feel it.
I'm going to get whooped
Yeah.
in the training session. So that prevents me from going doing bad things on a Friday night, because I don't want to get my ass kicked on a Saturday morning. I want to go in there and feel good, and then feel good about my weekend. And it gives you something to focus on, the mental side of it. It obviously keeps you fit, it keeps you healthy. And so it's difficult to say. It's difficult. I think hopefully on the smaller shows, the financial gain will be better for the guys who won't make it to the UFC top. Because let's be honest, you start making money when you get ranked in the UFC.
Yeah.
When you're top 15, that's when you start making money, when you can support family members and stuff.
I mean, it's so hard, because I feel that depending on where you come, your background, there's been a lot of athletes who've been able to make a lot of money not fighting inside the UFC, who just fight for, other promotions, granted, are we talking six figures? Are we talking, $100,000? Are we talking, $20,000? And it's all based around your team, right? Like, it seems like you and your dad have been with each other since day one, obviously. And so you don't have anybody around you that's trying to leech off you or suck you dry. It seems like you've been surrounded by positive people who are always trying to uplift you. So I think depending on what route you go, like, there's people who make it to top 15 UFC and they're like, fuck, I'm still broke. I can't afford a house and all that stuff, right? Unless you're successful and you keep on winning. But it just truly all depends. And that's the thing. That's the one thing I do hate about the sport of mixed martial arts, is that, like you said, out of those 40 athletes, the same as football, like American football, or maybe even soccer, there's so many of them. And maybe it might be, like you said, the 0.001% might make enough to buy a house.
Yeah, it's crazy, especially when it's difficult because we spoke about this before, me and Charlie, who's off camera, who's my he does my media and all that stuff. But he's also
get him, man. There he is.
But he's also my friend as well. Before, like, Charlie was working with me, he didn't know too much about MMA. And we were speaking about it recently. He's like, MMA fighters are generally quite lost and impressionable people. And I think a lot of the time, like, managers approach them and they'll say, look, I can get you in the UFC. All you got to do is pay me 30%. And you think, but when you're broke and you've not got any money, you think, 30% of 10K, like, it's only $3,000, like, it's not that much.
Yeah.
And then you sign a contract with them. Before you know it, you're making 200K, 500K, you're making $1 million. And then it's like, that guy has got a shitload of money off me. Oh, yeah. From just doing a bit of talking here and there. Like, it's crazy.
Well, I think it's different. Like you said, at one point in time, if you're from the UK, to get to the UFC, there was no pathway. There was like no, I win this local show, Okay, next thing you know, I'm gonna go to like the Ultimate Fighter, Dana White's Contender Series. I'm gonna get in the UFC. So I think those guys, those managers had more of I guess you say, a golden suit. A guy shows up, hey Tom, hey, you're 5-1 amateur. I bet you I get you the UFC. Just sign right here, 40%, 30%. It's nothing. You're not making nothing.
It doesn't sound like a lot of the time. But then when you start making money, it's like, that is a shit ton of money, like, for not doing a lot of stuff. And that's where I'm extremely lucky that I've got my dad involved, because he sees it way before. I mean, I'm getting a bit smarter now. I'm getting a bit older, and I've had a lot of fights now, so I can see it. But early on, that was a bit like, oh yeah, we'll just go with this guy. It's like, well, no.
So then how was your introduction to the UFC, right? Like, so talk to me about that. Your dad's your trainer. You guys are training together. You're winning fights in a local show. Talk to me to that amateur career to the professional to the UFC.
So I wanted to have as many amateur fights as I could. I had 10. What is 9? 10, sorry. Honestly, I would have had 30 if I could.
Wow.
But I just kind of like ran out of guys to fight because I thought I just want to get as much experience as I can at the amateur level. So I had 10, won all them. Then turned pro, had one or two fights. And then I actually lost like my third fight. But just because, again, I was just struggling for like guys to fight. Like in the UK, it was difficult. So I ended up fighting a guy who was, I mean, I wasn't very good at the time. I ended up fighting a guy who was a lot better than me and I lost, whatever. Then I came back, had a couple more. And then I was really struggling like to get matches. Really struggling.
Is it because your size or just in the area of the pool that you're fighting in? Like just being in the UK? Because I'm assuming you did all your amateur and your semi-pro in the UK.
Just a little bit of both.
Gotcha.
Like I think that heavyweights anyway, kind of difficult to
find.
Match. To find, to match, to put them on a show and all that stuff. So there was that. And then at the time, so my dad's friends with a guy called Peter Fury. Peter Fury's like a boxing legendary boxing trainer. He's like trained Tyson Fury, he's trained a lot of other, high-level boxers. And I was struggling for sparring even at the time. I couldn't find any sparring partners. My dad's friends with Peter Fury. I started going down the boxing gym to spar with Tyson Fury and some other fighters down there. And they just kept seeing me like book fights, the fight would get cancelled, and then I'd be back to square one. It would go like that for a bit. So then it was a little bit like, well, why don't you just box? Yeah. So I was like, they've got a point. Like
there's plenty of heavyweight boxers.
Yeah. I'm just going to box for a little bit. So anyway, long story short, I did that for a couple of years. That didn't work out like I thought it was going to. That's corrupt as hell in this country. So then I went back to MMA, couple more fights, but then something kind of changed then when I went back to MMA is because I was sparring with Tyson Fury, who was like a big deal at the time. And also I trained with Darren Till. Darren Till at the time was like a big deal.
Yep.
So it was kind of, I had like a little bit more, people knew I was a little bit more just from like being associated to them guys. Then I started, I signed with a company called Cage Warriors. You familiar with Cage Warriors?
I'm not, no.
Cage Warriors is like a big European, like Conor McGregor came through there, a couple more guys.
You said Cage Warriors?
Cage Warriors,
It's your accent. I apologize. The other day, somebody said, oh, it must be nice to go to see the whales. I was like, whales? It's like, say it again. He goes, whales. I was like, there ain't no fucking whales out here. He goes, I said whales. I was like, are you trying to say world? He goes, yes, whales. I was like, you're trying to say world. Sorry,
wow.
Your accent. My bad.
Apologies.
So, Cage Warriors.
The accent
Cage
gets in the
Warriors.
way sometimes.
I don't know. I know. I thought you were saying Aries. Cage Warriors.
Cage Warriors.
Continue.
Cage Warriors. Let's clarify that. Cage Warriors. Yeah, so I was on Cage Warriors.
Cage Warriors. Okay.
Got a couple of wins on there. I actually signed a 5-fight deal with them.
Okay.
Had 2 fights. Won them both. And they were like, look, we can't match you anymore. And at the same time, we had some interest from the UFC. But I think at the time, I probably had maybe 8 or 9 pro MMA fights. So not that many at all.
I mean, but you got to account for your amateur career. And then you're semi-pro, and then you went boxing, and then so you're putting a lot of work in, a lot of groundwork in.
You know what though, I was always like, because I'd always sparred at a high level, high level people. I'd always sparred in different disciplines as well, like we spoke about before. I'd always been like gone to spar pro boxers. I'd like wrestled any Russian guys who were here, Iranian guys, and then I'd rolled with loads of like high level Brazilians and stuff. So I knew where I was at. Oh yeah, do you know what I mean? But I just thought between me and the big names, I just didn't have enough experience. I was aware that that's quite a big thing. But anyway, like we spoke to the UFC and we were like, oh, shall we take the UFC contract? And I was a bit like, I think I want to get more experience, I think I want to finish this Cage Warriors contract and get as much experience as I can. And then Cage Warriors were basically like, listen, we can't match you anymore. Like, we don't know what to do. So at the time, I didn't really have much of a choice. Yeah. Then I booked a fight and then COVID hit. Oh, fuck. So then it was like a year of waiting then, I think, something like that.
Yeah. That is crazy. It's refreshing to hear somebody who's a world champion saying that I didn't want to rush. I want to get as much experience as possible. Yeah. Because that's the biggest thing I see you know, like you said, back in the day, you know, mixed martial arts at a professional level wasn't what it is today, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, oh, UFC, I want to be a professional fighter. I want to da-da-da-da. That's all they want to do. They never try to take their time to go to different gyms for different disciplines, right? And then once you go pro, you can't go back, right? Like once you get to that ladder, there's no going back. And we have a guy that I train with now who's a professional fighter, and he is in that limbo where he's fighting and he will lose. And I'm like, you're not making the right decisions. Like you're at a point now where you can't go back. You should have been learning how to make these decisions when you're an amateur, or you should be more comfortable on your feet. Like I told him, I was like, you look lost on the feet. Like, do you know what you're doing? He goes, yeah, I feel like I do. And I was like, when I watch, I feel like you don't. And I said, you're supposed to figure that out as an amateur. So I told him, you need to go do smokers to get, you know, pop, and move. But he's at that point now where he had a fight and he ended up winning the fight, but he dropped the guy. The guy dropped him, and it was a tough fight. The guy was more experienced, and he came out. He goes, man, I don't think I'm ready for this level. And I said, too fucking late. I was like, you've already crossed that boat. You gotta navigate that sea. And it's refreshing to hear you say that. I want as much experience as possible. Now, does that come from just your own feeling, or is that also your dad say, hey, let's keep doing this. Let's try to get as many fights as possible?
Well, I was around a lot of guys who came from Cage Warriors, and yes, that is Cage Warriors.
I got it now. You said Cage Warriors, so I got that at time.
And I know the other different shows.
Yep.
And these guys were like steamrolling people, and then they go to the UFC and they'd get steamrolled. And
so
then
you had it.
And I don't know if this is like globally or it's just a UK thing, but people talk about UFC jitters. They call it in this country. That's in the US as well.
I mean, when I got in there, I was in WEC. Then I went up to fight Kid Yamamoto. You know what? It's kind of hard for me to say I did because I was at 135. So it was kind of like the infancy stage where heavyweight's been around forever. You had
so that you didn't feel that much pressure when you went in there.
I didn't feel as much pressure because we're kind of like the infancy. Well, heavyweight's been around forever in the UFC.
But people talk about like the UFC jitters as in like the nerves and the adrenaline dump, like it's going to be way bigger and you're not going to perform as well. That's what they're getting at when they're talking about it. So I was like, I don't want to get that. Like I want to have as many fights as I can before I get there. But you know, it actually worked out really well for me is that my first fight was in Abu Dhabi on Fight Island and there was nobody there. So it was like that. So I had like 4 fights before I even fought in front of a crowd.
Wow. In the UFC?
In the UFC, yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
But then I went from, so it was actually a nice little build up because I went from the first Abu Dhabi card, which was like literally 10 people in the building, 20 people in the building. Then the next one, they started like slowly letting more, so there was probably like 100 people in the building. Then I fought in Vegas, and it was probably similar, 100 people. And then the time after that was in Vegas again in the Apex. But they started letting like small crowds in then. So there was probably like between 500 and 1,000 people. And then when I then my next fight was in London and they put me on main event against Volkov. And there's like 22,000 people. But I was already like used to the interview process. The UFC gloves, Dana White sitting cage side, the cameras, like I was used to everything then. And it was like, I was all right with it. I was fine with it, but it was like a nice slow build for me. So I'm pretty, like the pandemic was pretty bad globally for everybody. But I think for me and my career, like it worked out pretty good because I got really comfortable in the things that a lot of people feel nervous about.
Usually, I mean, I remember when I fought, my first one was UFC 126, Anderson Silva versus Vitor Belfort in Mandalay Bay. I think it was sold out. And like I said before, there was no 135 for me to look up to. So it was almost like, oh, here you go. But it was a big, massive arena. And plus, I was the prelims. So there was like maybe 200 people in there, 500 people. But it's it's funny to hear that you slowly got the introduction, you got your feet wet, and then eventually main event, London, 22,000 people. And how did that feel in your home country?
Oh, that was good. That was good stuff. And I think this is going to be difficult for you to relate to for sure. But as a guy from like Manchester, like the O2 in London is the place. Like you've made it if you fight. Like, and now obviously I fought a lot of other places, that MSG and all the rest of it. But like that's massive for a guy from Manchester to fight, to sell out the O2 in London. So, and I think that show especially that was like the first international show after the pandemic. So like the UK fans were like so thirsty for some action. It was like the atmosphere in there was incredible that night. It was unbelievable.
Or probably thirsty for somebody from you're homegrown.
Yeah.
Right? You train here.
Yeah.
You're still with the same team, right? And for you to come here and headline on your own soil, I think that's massive. And the UK people will get behind you, right? I think a lot of people don't take that into consideration because a lot of people, they train like, oh, I'm from the UK, and then they leave the UK. They go to America and start training and all that stuff. And then when they come back, they don't have that same fan base. They might, but for you to stay here and continue to train here and stay with the same team, I think that speaks a lot more noise to the fan base here in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, I personally love being here. I don't, especially now with the training situation. Like we have a training situation where it's just light heavyweights and heavyweights. I feel like we've got one of the best heavy mats in the world. Seriously, and because the thing is with the heavyweights, it's like usually every gym will have like one big guy usually. Yeah, and like everybody's struggling. And then we didn't even do it intentionally. We just started training with a few big guys, and then obviously pictures get out there and more people just wanted to come. And now like we have guys, other UFC fighters with us. We have like Bellator fighters, PFL, like every big organization. We have heavyweights in the gym all the time, like every single day. It's unbelievable. But something else that I really like is, like obviously I'm in the US from time to time and a few times a year usually. Yeah. And I do a little bit of training when I'm over there, of course. But something that I do find when I'm there is like, especially being in Vegas, and I absolutely love Vegas. It's my favorite city in the world. Absolutely love it. Love the PI. I train a little bit at Extreme when I go there and a couple of other places, and I love it. The thing that I don't love is that everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
Whereas like, I feel like I'm here.
You're
and nobody.
You're in the trenches, you're working.
Nobody knows anything about me.
Yeah.
Anything about my style. And something that I really like as well is like, I have the shortest UFC fight time average in UFC history at the moment, 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like nobody.
Have you averaged all your money you made?
No,
and do it?
no,
You should
no.
do it.
Because for me,
your dad will do it like, okay, son, you make about.
No, the money, obviously fighting is a big thing, but the biggest thing, as you know, like I'm preaching to the choir, is like the hard yards are done in the routine, in the sacrifice, in the what you have to put your body and mind through every day. It's not, the fighting bit is relatively easy in comparison to doing everything else. But yeah, something that I really like is like the fact that there isn't too much footage out there of me online. There's obviously all my fights are on there, but then nobody can say, oh, I sparred with him. Oh, I watched him spar, and this is what he does. I'll go and tell this guy. Oh, you know, we have a tight team. We have, like I say, light heavyweights and heavyweights. We're all close. We're all friends. We bring select guys in, and that's it.
Now, is that you're doing, or is that more like who oversees the training? Is that your dad?
That's my dad. I don't do it. I don't do anything. I just show up.
Oh, you show up, and your dad runs the whole thing, the strength conditioning, everything.
I mean, I have a strength and conditioning guy, but
when it comes to the martial arts, the boxing,
everything is done by my dad, from the sparring to everything is organized by him. Yeah.
That's amazing. And what's your dad's background like? So the fans can, or the viewers can understand, like, what is your dad, you know, has your dad competed before?
Yeah. Oh, well, by the way, my dad hasn't been my only coach for the whole time. I've obviously done a bit of everything, so it's not just my dad for the whole time.
But same here, right?
Yeah.
But I think
it's important. You need to have other looks from other guys. It's not literally just one guy.
1000%. But I think, you know, we always say that, right? Like you go to a Michelin restaurant, right? And you have one head cook who's overseeing the main dish.
Exactly.
You're going to have somebody who goes, hey, Tom, why you try this? And your dad's like, oh, you know, I actually kind of like that. I'm sure if some guy came in and he goes, okay, Tom, what you going to do? You're going to do this, and your dad's like, what the fuck?
There's loads of them. There's loads.
Exactly. So your dad's like, you know, we're going to respectfully, we're going to weed him out. And we're going to, you know, take what you like, but don't take everything, right? So I think, but I would like to say, I feel comfortable, you know, I've only met you for maybe about an hour and a half, but I feel like your dad's been the overall seer of everything. I'm like, okay,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that what you need to understand is, like, I started in the gym when I was, like I say, 8-9 years old.
Exactly.
And my dad has probably been to a solid 95% of those training sessions.
Exactly.
So whether it's like my dad taking a lead role in the session or just being there overseeing it, like he's been there the whole time.
Ooh, so game planning for your fights, is he sitting there breaking down? Is he pretty much orchestrating the whole entire thing?
Yeah, but it's like we always work to a game plan, but it's not to the point. So I've seen a whole different spectrum of people, of fighters over the years, of course. There's some people who like to have a game plan, like step by step, right? At this time in this round, this is what you do.
Yeah.
And for me, that isn't the way mixed martial arts should work for me personally.
Yeah.
Like we go in with a general idea of what we got to do. But at the same time, like I feel like I have done so many reps in my life of different things. Like I say, I've been in the gym for the majority of my life.
Yeah.
That my body should hopefully just take over and I should know what to do in different situations. So yeah, we'll have an idea, right? We need to put his back on the fence. We need to fake him.
Yeah.
We need to, throw a lot of kicks and do this, that, and that. But it can't be like, in my opinion, it can't be like, right, when he jabs,
we do this.
You do this.
Yeah.
He's gonna grab you this way. You need to counter this way. Like general ideas of stuff. Yeah, 100%. You need to, have an idea of what your opponent's going to do and what you should do when they do this. But it can't be like step by step by step. This is what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm so mad. Like I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you talk. I'm so pissed off that you haven't gone to the second round. Only reason why is because I want to see the father and son dynamic. Because I'm sure if you ever make it to the stool between the rounds, I want to hear that. All right, Tom. All right, here we've been here before.
Yep.
Nobody's ever seen that.
Yep.
Like what happens if Tom gets in trouble in a fight? What is a corner like? You see some people's corner, come on, you gotta pull your head out of your ass, Leon. You gotta get. It's just chaotic. Then you see some guys like, okay, breathe. And I'm sitting here listening. I was like, man, I want to see what happens when you sit down and how does your father approach you and what's going through you guys' mind. I'm like, hey, you know what? That and obviously you guys have got there in your amateur days, but not at this level.
Yeah. Do you know what? Me too. I'm not joking. I think I don't know about you, but I'm just speaking for myself. But martial arts for me, I want to find out stuff about myself.
Yeah.
That's a big part of what it is. It's not just about going in there and knocking someone out. Like that's fantastic. Like I'll take that and getting loads of money and driving around in a nice car. Like that's cool. Yeah. But also, I want to find out what I'm all about in the later rounds as well. So that's always a backlash I get from, opponents, teams. I hear people speaking about it on interviews and podcasts. And yeah, the biggest disadvantage is that Tom's got is he's not had the rounds. Look, I completely agree. But that isn't my fault.
Exactly.
That's the fault of my opponents.
Exactly. You might go your whole entire career and never seen a second round. Right?
If I can do that, I absolutely will.
But I think people are taking away the fact that you put years and years and years and years in the gym since you're 8 years old, getting your body prepared to be able to execute that stuff. If it was so easy, why isn't everybody else doing it?
Yep.
It ain't fucking easy. I have probably one of the most longest fight time in my UFC career because, I don't have the power. I couldn't get myself in a position where I can land that knockout shot like you do, right? Yep. Like I never put myself in the fire to be able to land that shot or be able to receive that shot. You do. And it's not easy because if it was, everybody and their mom would do it, right? Yep. Everybody in the heavyweight division would have the shortest fight time, right? But that's not the case.
Yep.
You look at Jon Jones, you look at Cyril Gane, you look at Volkov, you go down the whole fucking list and they don't have the shortest fight time.
Yep. Like I said, it's not a criticism. Like I can see why people would say it. But for me, I don't take it personal because, like you say, if everyone could get a 2-minute knockout, they would. Yeah. And I'm actually never going in there and being like, I'm going to knock this guy out quick. Yeah. I'm in my mind, I'm always like, I'm here for 25 minutes. Yep. Honestly, the thing that my dad says to me the most on fight week is just go in and enjoy it. Yeah. Go in and enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Don't even try and think about anything. Just enjoy yourself. And when I do that, I seem to win really quickly. And so I've got like a little thing where my opponents, every opponent that's said to me, honestly, is I'm going to drag him into deep water. Mm-hmm. I've knocked him out in the first minute. Yeah. So like every time an opponent says that, I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Well, it's also because you're a heavyweight that pushes the pace. You're not as scared to put yourself in the fire, right? Yeah. When you do that, you're forcing this. And this is what's supposed to happen when you fight. And when the car crash happens, you're the one who's walking away from it while the other person's still in there, you know, unconscious. And that's where I think a lot of people don't realize is that you put yourself in that fire, and that's why you're able to, you know, if they say that, you're like, okay, perfect. Drag me to deep waters. Like anybody can drag anybody to deep waters, but you still got to drag the body out to deep waters. And if you drown on the way out there, that's your fucking bad.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I want to be there and see how it goes. I'm not trying to do I'm not trying to do this. I want to see what I'm like. But the thing is, it's not a knock on me. It's my opponents. Like I'm hitting people and they're going over. Yeah. And like I'll absolutely, if I can do that for the rest of my career, I'll come out with the shortest fight time average, the most bonuses in UFC history. I think you'd be an idiot to not take it.
I agree with you. It's like what Chael Sonnen says. He goes, I don't want to fight the hardest person. I want to fight the easiest person for the biggest check, and I don't want to take no damage. So I think when you're, you know, the media, the fans, all the athletes, I think they're just envious that they're not in your shoes for somebody to come into, you know, the hardest sport in the world and be able to get out unscathed, essentially, time and time again.
Yeah, and I think that people in the mind, they're always like, I want the hardest fights possible. This is like something else and they want to see him all macho and stuff. If you want the hardest fight possible, why are you cutting 30 pounds in a month?
Preach.
Because then you're trying to have an advantage over your opponent. Mm-hmm. So if you want the hardest fight possible, fight at your natural weight then. Yeah. Like nobody fights at the natural weight. Everyone's cutting loads of weight. Yeah. So if you're cutting loads of weight, that means that you want an advantage on your opponent to make it easy for yourself. Yeah. So
do you think they should eliminate weight cutting?
Well, I don't cut weight, obviously. I'm a heavyweight. Yeah. My first amateur fight was at light heavy, but I was like 17, 18 years old. Yeah. And the second fight was supposed to be at light heavy, but I didn't make it. So I've cut weight, I cut weight twice in my life.
You're like, fuck this noise, Dad.
It's not for me. No, to be honest, I just kind of like outgrew it being possible to get to. So I work in kilos. So 93 kilos is the cut. I walk around about 115. So I'm a long way off. So it's going to be really unhealthy. But I don't think it's healthy. I mean, I think it's healthy to a degree. Like your weight's going to come down naturally from training. Yep. You follow a good diet, your weight's going to come down naturally. Yep. You can do a little bit of water, but I think when people are depleting themselves of like 10, 15 pounds the day before, they're taking all that water off the brain, and then the next day they're going completely exhausting themselves and taking punches to the head. Mm-hmm. I think long term, it's not the best idea, to be honest. No. But I wouldn't want to speak too much on weight cutting because I don't do it myself, so it'd be a bit hypocritical, I think. Yeah,
for me, when I was cutting to 125, you know, there'd be times before I would fight and I'd cut like 8.5 pounds just because my body and the water weight wasn't coming off. So I'll do 8.5, you know, and back in my day, you would weigh in at 4 p.m. the day before the fights, and then you would have to hydrate. So now when you guys fight, you don't weigh in. You do weigh in, but you don't have to cut weight. You can weigh in the morning, we hydrate, ceremonial weigh-ins. So back then it was like you would wake up 8 a.m. in the tub, you're on weight at 11 a.m. Then from 11 a.m. all the way to 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. because your main event, you're dehydrated the whole fucking entire time. Yeah. You make weight, you rehydrate, and then you're fighting at maybe, 10 p.m. at night. I did it because I was just so fucking small. I had to, right? Like when I fight at 135, you had Dominic Cruz fucking suplexing me and my skill level wasn't at his. But then when I went to one championship, it was amazing. I was like, I'm not cutting weight anymore. I still cut a little bit, but not as much as when I cut to 125. And when I look at your frame, I'm like, you seem like you are fit year round. It fits like you're an athletic build of a heavyweight. You're not fat. Yeah. That's essentially what I'm trying to get at.
I think a lot of people look at me and think I'm not that big and heavy, but I got loads of blood work done recently, and I also got like some testing and.
I saw that. You were sick recently.
Yeah, I was sick. Yeah. I've been sick for quite like a few months. But anyway, that's a different story. But whatever. But I'm 250, 255, 12% body fat. So damn. Like if I'm going to lose,
that's good.
why would I want to lose 50 pounds if I'm 12% body. And something else for me personally, like one of the reasons that I'm very successful with my style, and again, I don't want to give too much away, but because I'm very, very athletic for the size.
You are.
My balance is great. My agility is great. That is, as well as other things, but that is a big advantage that I've got in the heavyweight division.
Yep.
A lot of people are slow, ploddy, they've got no balance, they've got no distance control, they can't move in and out fast or anything like that. Mm-hmm. The light heavyweights, on the other hand, they've got all that stuff that I've got. A lot of them, I train with light heavyweights, and I generally find it a lot harder to train with the light heavyweights than I do the heavyweights.
Who's a light heavyweight champion right now? Ankalaev, right? Yeah. I think Ankalaev moves good on his feet, but Alex Pereira, I think you're faster than him. I truly believe you are. I feel like you move like in and out. Your style in and out is faster than Alex. Alex is a plotter. He needs that calf kick. He hits hard. You do as well, but you're faster than him. So I feel like you have the frame of a heavyweight, but you move, like I said, like a bantamweight, a featherweight, because you're so athletic. Like when I first saw you fight, I was like, holy fuck, he moves pretty good on his feet. And I was like, he moves pretty good. And then I saw there's not much footage on you. And then I'm like, okay, he's knocking people out. Okay, he's very explosive. Okay, very explosive. Oh, he can take a shot. Okay, well, that's all the footage we have. So you do have the athletic ability where I think you're selling yourself short, where there's not a lot of like, even Jones, he does not move. He doesn't move. He's not an explosive athlete.
Yeah.
He maybe was at one point in time. Yeah. But when you're pushing, hey, I'm fucking 38. I know things aren't the same, when you're 28, 29, 30 years old. Yeah. You slow down, right? And granted, when you slow down, you become more intelligent. We don't have to move as much. You don't have to be explosive. So I think for light heavyweight, I would give you the green flag that you do move faster than majority of those guys.
I think so, but I think it's bigger at heavyweight, like in terms of the difference. Yeah,
1000%, right? But I would still put you at the heavyweight, probably at the top. When you go to light heavyweight, you just think about Alex Pereira was the light heavyweight champion of the world, right? So
I think even like little subtle stuff though that you won't see, like when I train with light heavyweights, for example, if I've got a single leg, for example.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have better balance.
They have a lot better balance than heavyweight.
1000%.
A lot better. Like a lot of the time, I'll pick a single up with a heavyweight and they're on the floor. Like I don't even have to turn the corner. I don't have to run the pipe.
You guys are so fat.
But the balance just isn't as good. It just isn't. But when you're a smaller guy, naturally you have a lot more body awareness. You can move and put your balance in the right place and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I see where you're coming from. I was like, Tom, I think you're light heavyweight. You're probably up at the upper echelon too with your movement, because that's like I said. When I first saw you fight, I was more impressed about your movement, like how you're moving for a heavyweight. All heavyweights hit hard, right? But can a heavyweight move back and forth, light on your toes? Like, this is not you. You're like this. Your heels are off the ground. That was the biggest thing. Like, when I watch fights, my friends say, nobody likes watching fights with me. Like, when I watch fights with Michael's like, why is he doing this? I'm just sitting there like this. And he goes, my friend's like, what are you watching? I'm like, I'm watching their body mechanics. I'm watching what they do. I'm watching their ticks and how they're moving. That was the first thing I noticed about you, was like your movement was so good. And then I was doing just a little research and I was like, okay, I saw the part where you were talking about you're a boxer. You went into boxing. I was like, oh, makes sense. That's why he moves like that. But hearing your story now, from all the different sports you've been in, it makes more sense where the athleticism comes into the frame of your body, because you've been doing it for so long, since you've been 8 years old.
Yeah, I thought, well, that's something that we definitely work on. We'll be doing it a lot this week, haven't we? With just like the footwork, that's something that you need to work on, definitely. Absolutely. And I actually think that even though I don't have a background in like karate or taekwondo, I think that footwork style works a lot better for MMA as opposed to like a Thai boxing style.
Yeah.
Just for like the distance control and the wrestling attacks, like that in and out movement works way better. It's hard to get someone.
Especially for a heavyweight. I want you to sit here and exchange with me. And I was like, nope, not happening. Nope, not happening. You're always changing the dynamic of the distance, the void, or changing the angle of the puzzle of the fight. And like I said, that was the first thing that caught my eye when you fight. It wasn't the fast knockouts. It was like, wow, he moves good for a heavyweight. I was like, impressive. Good for you, Tom. Good for you.
Thank you. But honestly, like, I feel like I've got so much more to show. But I'm hoping that I never have to show it. Do you know what I mean? I
you don't have to. Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
hoping that I can just do every fight like that.
Well,
but,
you know, after you're done with your career and you want to retire, you can just, you know, hey, I'm gonna do a kickboxing match. Hey, I'll do, you know, IBJJF, or I'll do other stuff just to show people like your full run or you right after the sunset, like, guys, he was one of those guys who got away and we didn't really see.
I hope so.
Nobody was good enough to take me.
That's what I'm hoping. That's
right?
what I'm hoping.
And that's where I think a lot of people, like, I love what you said recently, is that you don't care who you fight. You just want to fight. I just want to be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I don't care if it's Jones. I don't care if it's Silk. I don't care who it is. It could be King Kong. It could be one gorilla. You know, that big ass meme going on right now. What do you think, Dad? How many Tom Aspinalls do you think it would take to beat the gorillas?
3.
Oh,
No, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. Oh, we're not getting into this debate.
But you have always stated you don't care who you fight. You just want to fight and be active. You want to be pushed to deep waters. And obviously nobody's been able to do it yet. So now on the everybody always wants to know, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Newsflash, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of things happen behind closed door, right? Obviously, you've been out spoken about, like, you want to fight Jon Jones. Yep. Obviously, Jones is trying to get his, whatever he's got going on, together. How, me and Michael were talking about this before you guys got here. This is the only sport in the world that I know of that you can have somebody hold your career back.
Yep.
Meaning that, like, okay, we have a healthy champion who has shown a little bit of interest to fight you, not really a lot of interest to fight you, but you can't fight because you're like, I'm just trying to fight, but it's not happening, right? God. I guess speak on that. Like, how frustrating is it, you know, for you? Your dad is like, guys, can we just get a fucking fight? Because it's not like you're getting younger. You're only going to get older, right?
Yeah, sure. I'm quite lucky in that regard because I don't feel like I have a lot of miles on the clock, and the 32 is quite young for a heavyweight.
Yeah,
so,
you're getting ready in your prime.
I would definitely fight if I could. Well, I had a big injury a few years ago where it was like potentially career ending.
Was it ACL?
So I did a little bit of my ACL, but MCL, meniscus, and they actually took some of my femur as well off. So it was quite a big surgery.
Hey, your femur as in the bone?
Yeah, the bone.
Holy shit.
I didn't have a meniscus for a long time. So basically, in the area where my meniscus should have been, the bone like started growing to become like a shock absorber. They just shaved it off. It's weird stuff.
So you're telling me that your femur grew into the space where your meniscus is supposed to be in order to compensate for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
What the fuck?
So that was a bit weird.
Oh, it just grew into that space.
Yeah.
I was like, you fucking
bit strange.
Okay.
But anyway, I had the big injury, and then it was I was at a bit of crossroads, really. Like, you know, I made a little bit of money then.
Yep.
But I made enough to like buy a house and stuff, and then it was a bit like, do I want to carry on with this thing, or you know, it was obviously devastating stuff to get injured in front of everybody and stuff. But anyway, it was a tough time for me. Came back, took me a year with the rehab, with the knee and everything. I'm not talking about drugs. I'm talking about, you know.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
The physiotherapy and all that kind of stuff. So it was a tough couple of months mentally, but then once I started like working towards getting back, it was like, right, I'd see the doctor, I'd see the physio, and they'd be like, right, in 2 weeks, this is what I want you doing in the gym. I want you squatting down to 90 degrees. I want you to be able to jump on this box. I want you to be able to run a mile. I want you to be, and then you can start, you know, start boxing training. You can do this, that, and then it was like I always had like a little goal to work towards.
Of course.
So after like a couple of months of being like sat on the couch, as soon as I could get in the gym and start working towards different things, it was great. And I felt good. And I was like, right, I definitely want to come back. Now I'm going to go. I don't have any injuries. I'm going to win the heavyweight championship. I'm going to become this legend. I'm going to knock everybody out and all that stuff. Like, I felt great about it. And I was on my recovery path to getting back. Now I've been almost a year inactive. With no prospects of anything apart from weight. Yeah. So now is actually a little bit more of a tricky time for me mentally than it was then. Even though
you had a reason for escaping from the cage.
Even people then were like, you know, people was like, "Are you okay? Like, how are you dealing with coming back and stuff like that?" And I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I've got this to look forward to. You know, the doctors say I've got to do this in 2 weeks, or in 2 months I can start grappling. And, you know, I constantly had like little goals that I could like work towards. Whereas now it's just like, right, just be ready and we'll just let you know.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of difficult, like mentally to be like, but this is the fight against Jon Jones. Like, not the fight is another thing.
Yeah.
This is the tricky bit where I really have to stay switched on, stay motivated, and I'm trying my best. I'm trying. It's tough sometimes, especially. But you know what? Again, I'm really lucky with the team and stuff. Is that we're in a spot now where guys come to me when they've got a fight coming up.
Yeah.
So like they're in training camp because we have international guys coming as well.
Yeah.
We have like a couple of Croatian guys. We have a couple of guys coming from, you know, all different places. And they're coming to me when they're in training camp, and I'm like, look, if I ain't on the ball, they're gonna kick my ass.
Yeah,
like,
gotcha. So you're getting different looks. You're staying fresh.
Yeah. So like, I obviously don't want to be getting beat up in the gym all the time. So like, I've got to stay on the ball in the gym, even though I've not got to fight myself, which is again a huge advantage that I've got. So even though it's a tough time for me, I'm looking to I'm developing my skills all the time, which is good.
Well, I think I listened to the interview. I don't know if you saw it, because I know usually when you talk on WhatsApp, you kind of keep yourself off of Instagram. You don't listen to the news. But GSP said that, you know, the most important thing you could do right now is focusing on your overall skill set. That way, when whatever opportunity does present to you, you're that much more prepared. Where it's like, I've been prepared for this, not physically, but also mentally, that when my feet hits that canvas, it's like I've gone through this simulation 1,000 times. Yeah,
definitely. I'm constantly working on stuff, but everyone wants to kind of chime in, and this isn't a pop at GSP because I love George. He's like my favorite fighter ever.
Yeah.
But as you said a minute ago, no one really knows what's going on behind the scenes apart from me.
Exactly. You're in the office cooking.
Yeah.
You and your dad and everybody's cooking. It's like, hey, we're going to keep on, you know, I'm going to get to the YouTube channel. I like this specimen. You're always continuing to work, right? And I think that's important. And people, that's the hardest thing about the sport of mixed martial arts is that we're very accessible, right? Like fans can get to us, they can talk to us, right? And they're always like, oh, they're never gonna fight. You know, you're stalling. Da da da. I was like, guys, I'm doing my own thing. Leave me alone. So I think it's smart that you stay off Instagram, but you are in the kitchen cooking with your father, preparing for whatever's to come next.
I'm in the gym twice a day, every day.
Oh my God.
I don't miss. Never.
How many days a week do you take off? You take any off?
Just Sundays.
Just Sundays.
Yeah. I train once on a Saturday.
Damn, Dad. Got him working.
I just love it. I absolutely love it. You know, and I think. See, people, again, we're referring to people online, but people's like...
You people, comments, who does he mean, you people? What are you talking about, these people?
No, people are like, why are you doing all this training with no fight? I'm like...
Why not?
I train all the time anyway. Just because I've not got a fight doesn't mean I don't train. Like, I'm not thinking about... I'm thinking about the next 5 years of my career. Like, I can use this time. Like, the amount that I've leveled up from now to my last fight is ridiculous. It's like night and day difference. And sometimes, you know, it actually, you know this anyway, but it works to your advantage not having a fight book sometimes, because you can level up a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you're speaking to the fucking choir. Like, people get better. They don't get better by fighting. They get better by taking time off in between fights. And I think we're in this day and age where people want to see you fight. They're like, when's Tom fighting? He's healthy. When is he fighting? He's healthy. He's healthy. But you get better when you're not fighting so actively, right? And I feel like that's the hardest thing to do in the position you're in, because you're the heavyweight champion of the world. And it's like, why aren't you fighting more? And it's like, well, it's not a, you know, for you and your dad, it's like, it's a double-edged sword. You can fight more, make more money, or you're like, hey, you know what? We're gonna keep on training. We're gonna get better. That way, when I do step in the cage again, we're gonna see if we get that fight time down even shorter.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I would fight if I could. Like, if I could fight like this month or next month, it would be perfect. But it's obviously not going to happen right now. So, but the positive of that is, like you said, so for a heavyweight, it's a little bit less. Like, we don't have as many guys. We get injured more, stuff like that. So probably twice a year is maximum for a heavyweight usually. 3 times a year is a little bit of a push. So if I can fight every 6 months, that's perfect. But when you've got a fight coming up and you've got 8 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever, you're training, or I know at least I'm sparring. It doesn't matter who I'm sparring against, but in my mind, I'm fighting I'm sparring the guy I'm fighting. That I've got in my mind.
Yeah.
I've got to do this because this is who I'm fighting. So I'm fighting Blades, for example.
Yeah.
Blades, good boxing, strong low kicks, great blast double, and top control.
Yep.
Generally, that's what he does really well. So in my mind, I'm like, got to get out of the way of the big punches. Yep. I've got to get him on the back foot so he can't shoot as much. I've got to keep him faking and do all this stuff that I would do against someone with that style.
Yep.
Whereas if you're just sparring because you love sparring, you're working on 10 different things that you don't, we can work on a left hook, for example, and I'll try and hit everybody with that left hook. Whereas if I've got a fight coming up and I'm fighting Blades, I might not be able to throw out left hook all the time because I've got to work on these other things to beat Blades. If that, maybe that doesn't make sense.
No, it does. It does. You're not just focusing on, like, there's people who go in there and they spar. You might take this round off, like, okay, I'm gonna on this round, I'm gonna focus on just hitting this left hook. That's it. Just left hook, left hook, left hook.
Yeah.
Granted, you're gonna have a fight coming up, right? Okay, next round, I'm gonna focus on, I'm just gonna get into the clinch the whole time. Clinch, clinch, clinch. Okay, let's say you do have a fight coming up, 8, 12 weeks out. Okay, each sparring match that I go on, I'm focusing on these key things that Blaze does, or, Suragan does. You're focusing on those key things for the whole 8 to 12 weeks, right?
Exactly.
So, now I understand what you mean. Like I said, that's one thing I do miss about fighting is just, sparring. I'm like, I don't have a fight coming up. I'm just going to focus on this. I'm going to see if I can put you in the clinch.
So do you spar now, or you don't?
I do not spar anymore. The last time I sparred was, we had a gentleman in the gym, death sentence. I sparred with him, but I didn't hit him or anything like that. But when I put the gear on, I'm like, okay, I'm not just putting this gear on for no reason. So I'll spar some of the local pros. I fucking love it, man.
Is there any reason that you don't spar now, or you just
no reason to?
Yeah.
I feel, my personal opinion, I feel the stand-up it's the hardest part, but it's also the easiest part, meaning that you're playing with windows of opportunity. And for me, being a smaller guy my whole career, all I have to do is get to somebody. Right. And once I get to them, then the clinch game comes in, my jiu-jitsu comes in, and I feel I can take people out of their elements when on the feet because I move, and I feel like you don't lose, like, move, and like, I feel like you don't lose that. I feel like the ground is such a massive hole that nobody has. You put someone on their back and you move them. So, and I just want to take any more shots to the head. I don't really spar anymore.
Get that.
Yeah. I mean, I do miss it though. I do miss, like, just fucking, I do miss it, but it's not worth, I'm 38, I'll be 39 this year. I don't want the more, not that I got a lot of trauma to my head for fighting, but just the rounds and the wear and tear on the body. I just don't want it.
I think I'm the same, like people say, oh yeah, you're still going to train when you're retired. I'm like, look, I absolutely love training. I absolutely love sparring, especially. I love it. It's obviously got its dangers and stuff.
Oh yeah.
There is no chance that when I've not got a fight booked or coming up and I've got no reason to do it, I am not going to meet 10 heavyweight guys and just punch each other in the middle of a freezing cold gym for no reason.
No. There's no point.
I do it now because I know that I've got to fight somebody.
You have something on the horizon.
Yeah.
You're working towards a goal that's going to pay off.
I'm not doing that for fun.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'd rather just like lift weights or do whatever else I'm doing.
And I feel you get so much more out of technical sparring. Like when I travel around, I did some technical sparring with Joaquin Buckley, and we vibed out very well. I've done some technical sparring with Aljamain Sterling. Just move around, just and then I'm like, okay, if I can do technical sparring with you guys, and if I were to ever fight again, I know what the speed and the essence of the moment that I'm gonna be able to move it and get to where I need to be, essentially. Sure. So I'll do like movement technical sparring, but as you're like, okay, mouthpiece in, let's go, hit hard. That shit's for the birds, man.
Oh, to be honest, I only really like heavy spar maybe 3 or 4 times a camp now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's actually impressive.
So at the moment, I spar every week.
Yep.
Once a week.
Yep. MMA or kickboxing or Muay Thai?
Bit of both.
Okay.
We like doing, like, my dad's philosophy on it is like, we'll spar a little bit and we'll have like rules to the sparring where it's like we can both jab and low kick for a round. So it forces you just to do that one thing.
Sparring, man. I was like, I got all that stuff.
I like that. I think it forces you to work on stuff, but like it. And then we'll do like some open sparring where it's like obviously full MMA and stuff, but it's with like trusted guys. And then when I've got a fight coming up, maybe like 3, 4, 5 times maybe, we'll do like, right, I'm in the middle. Yep. And we get a fresh sparring partner, and it's just
Shark Tank.
It's just not very fun.
Yeah.
It's just not very fun at all, but it gets you ready. But those are the times when like the risk reward is quite high.
Yeah, and the hardest thing is that I always tell the athletes, like, when I go, now that I'm retired, when I go and train, when I went to go train Brendan Moreno, I was like, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to prove that I'm better than you. I'm here to just feel you, to see how well you move. And if we can, exchange knowledge, perfect. And for you to, the whole goal is to get you ready and for you to be healthy as fuck when you get to the fight. Yep. There's no reason for, a guy going in there that you don't trust to fuck you up and cut you. And it's like, great. Now I can't go fight. Now I can't make money. Good. Are you happy? You got one up on me. Now I can't feed my family. I can't pay my bills. That's the worst thing. And that's one thing I always hated about, granted, I was always around people who I trusted. But when I see people get injured in the gym, I'm like, guys, like, he's got to get ready for a fight. He's a professional fighter. Like, you're trying to help him get there, be the dummy, and get your ass beat by him, essentially.
Oh, me and my dad speak about it all the time. There's I don't know, because I've predominantly trained in this country. So, I mean, I've been to quite a few gyms internationally and stuff, but people are having life or death spars in the gym a lot. Yep. Like, people are getting knocked out, people are getting injured, and it's like, guys, you're leaving your hard fights in the gym.
Yep.
No one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares if you win a spar.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yep, exactly.
It doesn't, like, you are leaving your brain cells in the frigging gym. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. And I think, there's definitely a place for that kind of sparring. Like, if you're new to MMA, and you need to know, like, if
this is what I want to do,
you got to know, like, can I dig in, and can I be exhausted, get hit with that body kick, and carry on? Because not everybody can. You need to know that for a few years at first. But now I've had, like, I don't know, 30, 40 fights. Like, why am I going to keep doing that?
Exactly.
I know that I've got it.
Yeah.
I know I can do it. So why am I going to... I might as well do it when I'm getting, like...
paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
might as well do it there.
Yeah, I never gave it to someone who's like, sparring. I was like, there's no fucking point. I was like, there's nothing booked. There's no point to get the brain cells.
Something else that I've noticed as well is, like, people who have them hard spars, like, it takes a toll on them mentally as well. Like, they start quitting in the gym.
Yep.
And then they start... Like, save... Like, in my opinion, there's only so many times you can, like, give up on yourself in life, like in a spar or a fight. Why are you going to save that for the gym?
Yeah, no.
Save that for the fight. Like, save that fight or flight emotion. Save that for the fight.
Yeah.
Why do you need to do it in the gym?
Yeah. Well, I think when people do that in the gym, they're building that quit switch in them.
Yeah.
Right. They're quitting.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I got to go hard. I lost this. And then when you get in the fight, your body's going to feel that same, that build up, that trauma. And it's like, oh, you know what? This hurts. I think I'm going to, I'm going to call it. Instead of going to the gym, move, do the hard rounds with people you trust to a certain point where it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. We're going to move. But then when it comes to a point, nobody should be getting to that point where you're going to hurt. I'll never forget. I think it was Rashad Evans. He said he had a sparring round with Vitor Belfort. He said that motherfucker tried to kill him. He was like, he literally tried to kill me. I was like, I feel like if I didn't, slow things down and de-escalate things, that would have been a full-blown fucking fight. And, that goes around everywhere nowadays, which is unfortunate. Those guys are just only hindering their career, which is, they're making that bet, they got to lay in it.
I know, but a lot of coaches encourage it as well. It's so bad.
That's why you got a great coach.
Yeah, it's so
Somebody
bad.
who's been with you since day one.
You definitely need it. I'm not trying to put anybody off hard sparring because you need it to a degree, but there's a time and a place.
Yep.
There's a time and a place for it, and it definitely isn't year round, and it definitely isn't a couple of weeks before a fight.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Oh, yeah, that shit. Yeah, I don't know why. When I hear people, oh, I got injured, hard sparring rounds, it's like, what are you doing? But... not everybody has their father in their corner helping them. It's, God, I mean, there's so many ways to navigate that, right? Like, some people don't even have coaches. Some people don't even they just have a manager, At one point in time, it was just bucking his brother getting ready for fights, right? Not everybody has, the best of both worlds where you have your father as your manager and your trainer looking out for the best interest of you.
Yep.
Right?
No, you're right.
I want to switch gears. You got this amazing YouTube channel. Right?
Oh, thank you.
It's hilarious. I love. My favorite part's probably the intro.
Some say that it's the best MMA YouTube. It's the best MMA channel.
Careful now, dog.
On YouTube.
Careful now. I know where you at. We in your country now, but don't.
Some say. Some do say that. Some do say. I didn't say it myself, but I've heard it from others.
Hey, I'm a fan of it. Talk to me about the YouTube channel because I feel it's very important for people to see you outside of you whooping everybody's ass, even though that's not a very long time. I think it's very important. Talk to me about you going on this journey, you know, starting to put yourself out there more with the channel.
Okay. So my friend sitting over there, Charlie, who's not on camera, but Charlie is over there. Me and Charlie do it. Charlie's my friend. It's very easy because he's my friend. That's very, very easy. But the reason I wanted to start doing it is because I'm not one of them guys who's going to sit there and talk shit and sell myself. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Also, I wanted to make myself a little bit bigger, if I'm honest. Yeah.
Bigger as in building your brand or?
Building the brand.
Okay.
Yeah, building the brand. Yep. Also, I want to put out there, because I feel like in the UK, MMA is still a little bit behind US, to be honest. Yeah. In terms of the way people look at it. Yeah. I wanted to show people that, like, you know, we're just like any other athlete. We're not all thugs. We're not all idiots. We're not, you know, constantly talking shit about people and being violent and stuff like that. Like, I'm a sports person just like a football player or just like a rugby player or a basketball player or whatever. Like, we are sports people, dedicated people. And also, there's fun to be had on there. Do you know what I mean? There's different collabs you can do with people. There's different, you know, we do a little series on there where I'm trying different sports and different things, and it's just fun. Like, it's not a big, I'm not like a full-time YouTuber or anything. It's just something we do on the side for fun. Yeah.
Well, I love it. Like the intro, it's like, obviously I like the content too, but the intro has like a 90s, 80s retro, like this man right here. And you're turning. I really like that part. And I love that you always doing, what's that?
From the $6 million man.
Oh, is it really? Oh, I never seen that episode. I never seen that show before, so I didn't.
Yeah, I read it too. It's really good. Yeah,
is it?
Yeah.
Is it a UK thing or the $6 Million Man? Or
no, he's mixed it with a load of different films, but he does all the music and all the voiceovers and everything. He's amazing. Still.
Oh, for YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
We have a really small team, but he's like, he's the best.
Oh, that's fucking badass. Yeah, I'm a fan. That's like when I saw it, I was like, shit. I was like, this is pretty cool. And I love that you're doing different things in different, showing the world different sides of you. Because like I said, we only get to see you during fight week, which is, you know, a week.
Yep.
You go in there. You beat your opponent, then you disappear, but then you give us a YouTube channel, so we were able to see you do the collabs. And you done a collab with Eddie Hall, I believe.
Yep.
He just fought.
Yep, I know Eddie.
You know, you know, how's that dynamic? Like, you know, you have one of the strongest men in the world, the heavyweight champion in the world. You guys get a chance to collab together. What's that like working with him?
Well, Eddie trains with us from time to time as well. Eddie comes up to spar a little bit. Eddie's obviously like big, strong guy. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? In terms of what do you want me to like say? That's just what's Eddie like?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you know, you're collabing with different people, right? Yeah. And when you're able to do that, you know, you have the strongest man in the world at one point, and he just fought. Yeah. Right. He just beat another former strongman at biggest KSW, which is, I always love it. They're like, oh, those shots in the back of the head. And I was like, guys, you got to understand, when you hit someone in the back of the head, like, you know, you have massive hands, right? And you've heard it before. Anything, if you hit the back of my head, as long as you touch the ear, it is considered legal. Yeah. And I said, when you have these fucking big ass bear claws hitting the ear and it's hitting the back of the head, those shits are illegal.
No, do you know what? It's with Eddie. It was Eddie's first fight, right?
He did fight those two.
He fought them two guys.
He did fight those two hooligans.
Yeah, he fought them two guys. But I mean, it's his first MMA fight, and
don't take that away from him. All right, no. He threw that fucking.
Yeah, that's fun. But it's Eddie's first fight. Yeah, and even I have got into the, like, I get someone hurt, you get all excited, and you're like, of course, like, it's his first fight. The guy's hurt, but the fight, I've seen people complaining about it. Yeah, but like, it was done. The fight was done. If he would have done it earlier in the fight, and it would have, like, the fight's done essentially. Yeah. So it's just a little accident. Like, there's nothing Eddie could have really done. He just got a bit excited. But Eddie's he's obviously a big, strong guy. He smashes it on YouTube himself. Like, he does really, really well with the YouTube stuff, and he's improving. Eddie's like, he's like 160 kilos. So I don't know how much is that in pounds.
Fucking big. Don't worry about it.
It's like three.
It's fucking big.
Wait. I think it's like 350
I'm like
pounds
61 kilos. Yeah. Well, no, that's fight weight. So I'm like 63, and I think 63 is like 154 pounds. So you double that. That's going to be like 154. That's It's like 300 pounds.
Yeah, I think it might be more. I think he's more like 350.
Yeah, it's fucking
he's
so
big.
fucking big.
He's
Like
a big
I said.
dude.
Yeah.
If he hits you, you're going over.
Yeah.
Simple as that. I sparred with him. He sparred with other guys from our team, and like, obviously, you don't want to get hit by any heavyweight, but especially a heavyweight of his size, it's just going to be bad news.
How many Mighty Mouses would it take to beat Eddie Hall?
Oh, Eddie Hall, I'm going to say him. I'd say it's going to be big. It's hot.
In all honesty, if you had an MMA fight, I think you'd beat him.
No, dude, he's fucking big.
Yeah, but it's in an MMA fight, I think.
I don't know, man. He get on top of me. You saw what he did, that little boy? He fucking picked him up.
I don't know. It's difficult to say. Yeah, the size is a thing. But if you've got a big octagon, like a UFC octagon.
I mean, I can move, you know.
Some guy stopped me. I was like, he's like, oh, can we have a picture? I seen you on Eddie Hall's channel. I'm like, yeah, cool. And then he like had no idea that I was. He just thought I was like, I don't know. But no, Eddie's a good guy. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
I love that, man. I don't want to take too much of your time. So the one thing I've been asking a lot of athletes, you're still active in the sport of mixed martial arts. What did you do with your very first big check where it was like, you know, you made over 6 figures? Like, what did you do with that first check? And then what did you do with your very last check you made? I know you made like $250,000 just showing up as a fucking backup fighter. Congrats to that.
Yeah, you wasn't supposed to know that.
That's okay. You're like, hey, can I go get drunk? I'd rather you wait. He goes, it's going to be expensive ass beer. Let's just wait, boys.
You wasn't supposed to know that, unfortunately.
Your dad's like, you fucking idiot. You're so irresponsible.
That is the world these days, unfortunately. People will sneak up and take pictures of you and stuff. But
it happens.
The first money I got, so when I first got, what's 6 figures? 100 grand.
100 grand, yes, sir. You're like, baby.
No, but
or not even 6 figures. Just the first time you made a paycheck. Like for me, when I got my first paycheck, and I was like, I'm gonna go buy a fucking laptop at Best Buy. It was like I think it was like 5 to show. I think it was like 450 to show, 450 to win. So about like $1,500. Mm-hmm. I went and bought a laptop. That math is off.
The first thing I did, because I got a bonus the first time I fought in the UFC.
Oh, well, good for you.
Unreal, unbelievable.
Yeah.
The first thing I did was pay a load of people back that I owed money to. Yeah, pay my dad loads of money back because I owed him. I owed a couple of friends like money here and there.
Yeah.
Because when I got in the UFC, I had 3 kids already, and I had no money.
How old are your kids? That way I can just have a time frame.
My oldest kid is nearly 9. 9?
Okay.
And I've got twins. It's actually the birthday tomorrow, so they're going to be 6.
Well, tell them I said happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Will do. So yeah, I don't know how old I think I got in the UFC when I was 27. So my oldest kid would have been about 4.
Okay.
3, 4, 5,
okay.
Something like that. Yeah. So I had absolutely no money at all. Yeah. 0. Like I owed my dad probably 4 or 5 grand. Yeah. No, I don't even remember. How much was it? More than that. I owed him a lot of money, and I owed friends like a few. I paid it back. And
I'm sorry.
I didn't have any money.
Fucking hilarious. He goes, "You're kidding, right? You're fucking lying right in front of me."
I can't remember, but I owed people money.
Yeah.
So I paid them back. That was the first thing. Yeah.
And then what'd you do with your very last check? Like the last check that came in, you know, obviously you're still, I usually ask retired athletes that, right? But you're still fighting.
Yep.
What was the last thing you did with your check? Like you came in, you knocked homeboy out, or you sparked him, and you got the check. What did you do with it? If you want to share, you don't have to share. Like, don't worry about what I do.
I'm not. I bought a really nice house, but that wasn't with my last fight. Mm-hmm. So I bought like my dream house
for you,
a couple of fights ago, actually.
What's Tom Aspinall's dream house? Are you on acres? Or you got 2 floors?
Yeah,
big
so
rambler.
I live I've got like a 3-story house, nice. And it's like in the middle of nowhere. There's no one around apart from animals.
How far is that from you?
Oh, not far. 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm still like in the area and stuff. Yeah. I'm just like a bit more on my own, which is great. I love that. But yeah, I don't think I really bought much from my last fight. Do you know? I don't really. I'm not a massive spender, to be honest. I've got everything I need, to be honest with you. Everything from now moving forward is just like a bonus, which is nice. It's great.
That's what's up. Okay, well, Tom, this is your opportunity to let people know where they can find you, how they can support you, the YouTube channel. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, the fight will get... I'm just going to say this right now. You know what pisses me off? Everybody's looking for fucking clicks. Like, oh, the fight's done, and this is going to fight. Shut the fuck... Nobody knows truly what's going on besides you, your dad, and the UFC. I hate when the guy's like, oh... from sources says it's like when he announces it, that's when the fight is going to be done. Okay, but how can people support you, find you?
Oh, they can find me across all social media platforms, including YouTube, Tom Aspinall Official. Some people say it's the best MMA content on YouTube. So I didn't say it, but some people say it, is what I'm saying. And yeah, you can find me everywhere, man. I'm across everything. You can find me on there.
That's what's up. That's what's up, ladies and gentlemen. Michael, you want to say something?
Yeah, so I hate to do it, but I am going to ask what you just talked about. If, in your honest opinion, when you look at Jon Jones, would you say it's a money thing or not wanting to fight you thing, or do you think it's a combination?
Well, I can tell you some stuff about the money situation, but I'm not sure I can say it on camera, so I will tell you that after. I think I think I'm a bad matchup for him, to be honest. And I think he knows it.
My opinion, I think it's a huge risk.
Yeah.
It's a huge risk. You're younger, you're athletic, you hit hard, you pose problems. We don't have much data on you, meaning that we don't know what happens if you do. And this is me speaking from an analyst and like my experience in MMA. Like if I was to fight Tom Aspinall, okay, what do I need to do? Okay, he's very fast, very athletic, light on his toes. Okay, he blitzes across the void. So if he gets across the void, can I take that shot? A lot of people have not been able to take that shot. So if he gets across that void and I get hit, I might go fucking down. That happens. You become the biggest fucking star ever. You just slayed the GOAT in a lot of people's eyes, right? Or if I go out there, Jones' eyes, if I go out there and I beat him, it was just as his words said, he's here today, gone tomorrow, right? So that's my opinion, like from his standpoint, or maybe he wants $30, $40 million. I have no idea, right? That's my opinion. Go ahead, give your piece. He asked the question. So it wasn't directed towards me, it was directed towards you.
I honestly can see John's point of view. I get it. I get it. It's just about the title for me. I just want the title, that's it. Does nothing else really matters. So, yeah, I get it completely. Get his point of view. Get what everybody's saying. Completely understand. I just want to prove I'm the best. That's all.
You're like, let me do my thing. Let me fight.
I just want to fight.
And I think that's the respectful way to go about it. It's like, you don't care if it's Jon, and it's no disrespect to Jon, it's no disrespect to anybody out there. You're just trying to fight. I just want to fight. And like I said before, at the beginning of the podcast, is that this is the only sport where somebody's putting you on ice. And it's not necessarily, it could be not necessarily Jon. It could just be they're trying to make him do something. He was like, guys, I'm just, I got 50 million to bank. I don't really need to fight. And then you're like, can I just fight? Give me whoever. Give me somebody. I think I saw the other day, it's like, you and another athlete had the longest reigning interim championship of like 600, I don't know how many fucking days it is, but it's
yeah, unfortunately beat it. It's not a title that you want.
Exactly. But people out there keep track of that shit, and it's like, guys, I said this. I was very outspoken about this a while ago, where it's like, I thought there was no point. My personal opinion, there was no point, and no disrespect to Stipe. He's an amazing athlete, amazing career. I thought there was no point for Stipe to versus Jon Jones. When you have a heavyweight champion and you have the interim champion who's defending the belt, who are both healthy, that is a fight that's supposed to happen. Stipe, and like I said, mixed martial arts is the one sport where you can get a world title fight off a fucking loss. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine in the sport of boxing or the sport of basketball?
4 years too.
In 4 years.
Yeah, I never thought. Yeah, it's crazy.
In 4 years, you get you get to fight for the best prestigious world championship after getting knocked out.
It's weird. It's definitely weird.
Fucking mad. It's weird.
Yeah, it is.
And it's just, it blows my mind. So I think that was the fight.
You should come back in 2029.
Well, only thing I left as a champion, so that'll make more sense. But it's the only, and it just blows my mind. It's like you had a healthy champ. So, but we can beat this dead horse. Obviously, when the fight happens, whether it's him or whoever, I can't wait to see it because we don't get enough time to see you fight in the cage. Right? And it's very unfortunate. Michael, do you have anything else for him?
Nope.
So I just signed a new deal with a clothing company called Champion.
Oh,
you
yeah, I know Champion. Yeah.
So they used to be like big in the UK, but it was in like the 80s, 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But now they kind of like don't really exist as much over here. They're more of a US company. I wanted to like try and jump on that to be a little bit bigger in the US. And
absolutely.
they're gonna bring it back here and do like a combat range with me, like facing it up and start getting into combat sports and all that. So that is kind of like that's a big deal for the UK.
Absolutely.
And for me as well, to be like have such a well-known company involved in combat sports. You know what I mean? I'm like pretty happy.
Man, as we sit here and we go through this conversation, I feel like there's not a lot that comes out of the UK, right? Like from what you're speaking, like there's not a lot of pathway to get to the UFC. There's not a lot of, you're going through it and you're like, man, I don't know if I should do this. I'm fucking broke. I owe dad $50,000. Haven't been able to pay him back. I got 3 kids. And then you finally make it. And you headline the, London O2 Arena, 22,000, fans. They're all rooting for you. And for you to be able to, you're like a beacon of light out of the UK right now.
Oh, thanks.
Right?
I mean, there's a few others. It's not just me. I can't take all the credit.
I know that you take. I'm not saying you're taking all the credit, but you're doing right by as a martial artist and as a good human by you're leading by example, right? Anybody who's struggling in the UK, it's like you look at Tom Aspinall. You also look at other good who came out of the London, Michael Bisping, right? But right now you're not out there bashing your opponent. You're not out there talking shit. You're like, hey, you know what, guys? I just want to fight. When the UFC and John they figure their shit out, call me. Until then, me and Charlie are gonna be in the kitchen with my dad. We're gonna be cooking up and preparing ourselves, doing good stuff on YouTube, and also getting ready for the fight. And while I'm doing that, I'm also gonna be signing deals to bring awareness to the UK with champions. That's what I'm trying to say, right? You're leading by example where people from the UK who live in Keighley, who come from impoverished areas, they can look to your story and have hope and be able to look towards and do something.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I think definitely.
So that's how I feel.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
So okay, hang on, now I close the motherfucker out. Okay,
you call it.
3,
It's so hot in this. You got to be hot. I'm roasted. I'm absolutely roasted. It's like.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Well, Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure for you to come join us on the MightyCast. I truly appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Bringing Charlie, bringing your dad. And boys, if you guys enjoyed this episode of MightyCast, please like, subscribe, and also hit the bell to know when we go live. And please leave a comment down below in the comment section. Let us know who does have the best YouTube channel. Is it Tom Aspinall? Or is your boy Mighty Mouse? Or is it another YouTube channel that we don't know of? As always, I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson. And as our guest, Tom Aspinall, we will see you guys at the next episode of the MightyCast. What is going on, boys? Welcome back to another episode of the MightyCast. And this is the part of the MightyCast where we call it the Mighty Recap. And it's where we recap everything we just talked about with our guest. And our guest was Tom Aspinall. Wow, what an amazing treat.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've had a lot of good guests, but this is the baddest fucking dude on the planet. And when you meet him, is just the most chill motherfucker that you will ever meet. And he could just kill any human being in like 1 minute flat.
I hope not. I hope he wouldn't kill anybody in 1 minute flat.
I'm saying he could.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. I think it's kind of cool to be actually get a chance. We've been going back and forth trying to talk to him, get the MightyCast set up, and it just so happened to work out that we're here in Keighley in the UK, and to talk to him, he's very intelligent, and I love the father-son trainer athlete dynamic duo between him and his father. Right? Like, I couldn't imagine my dad training me for all those years, right? And he said he started at a very young age, at 8 years old, always going to the gym. And I thought he started off boxing when he first got into mixed martial arts, because you look at the way he moves like a lightweight. He moves like, not like a traditional heavyweight. He's light on his feet. You notice when he fights, his heels rarely touch the ground. They're always on the balls of his feet. He's in and out, blasting across the void and knocking out his opponent. And it is absolutely crazy that he has his whole UFC career fight time is under 3 minutes, under 4 minutes. Like, he's never made out of the first round.
Yeah, his average fight time is 2 minutes, which is just hilariously low. And I just think he has a very positive mentality because he's being put in a situation that just sucks. I mean, there's nothing else to say. He is healthy. Yep. He's in the prime of his career. He's only 32 years old, and he has not fought so he fought in July 2024. We are approaching a year of someone that, this is a guy who trains every single day. Just think about it. You go to the gym every day as a professional athlete, and what are you thinking of? He's thinking of Jon Jones every day. He's having guys emulate Jon Jones, and you just have no idea if he's going to get that Jon Jones fight. It's maybe, as I say straight out loud, maybe this is all what Jon Jones is thinking, right? Like being in the back of his head of, am I going to do this fight? Am I not going to do it? And Tom is just, Jones holds all the cards, right?
Yeah.
He gets to decide, whereas Tom is like, I don't know if I'm fighting Cyril Gane. I don't know if I'm fighting Jailton Almeida. I don't know if I'm fighting Jon Jones. So maybe that's what John's doing, but it's frustrating as a fan, and for him, it probably has to be the number one guy that it sucks for.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%. And I think we spoke about it a little bit on the podcast, how if I feel that if Jon Jones does accept this fight, it's going to be an MSG, November. He's a creature of habit. He likes that big monumental moment, big cards in New York. It's going to be there. And, Jon Jones has spoken about, he wants 6 months to train for Tom Aspinall. And I think the biggest thing, when you look at a guy like Tom Aspinall, there's not a lot of tape to watch him. We haven't seen what happens to Tom Aspinall when he's put in this position. When he does this, all we see is him going out there, blasting across the void, knocking people out and getting off. Very athletic, lots of power. That is a recipe where you want to have time to prepare for. But how do you prepare for somebody where you don't really know what they're going to do? And the frustration on Tom, I agree with you. He is going about it the right way because, he hasn't been bashing Jon in the media. He hasn't been bashing nobody. He's just basically saying, like, guys, I'll fight when they let me. I don't care who it is, whether it's Jon Jones, whether it's Cyril Gane, Volkov, whoever it is. I just want to fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship. And it is crazy that he just got the record for the longest interim champion ever in the UFC. Can you believe that? It's like I said before, this is the only sport where you can have somebody stifle your career because they want him to fight. No, they want him to fight Jon Jones, but Jon Jones hasn't come to the table, from our understanding, right now for Tom Aspinall.
So I'll ask you the same question I asked him. If you had to guess, is it more Jon Jones wanting to be paid and that's the holdup, or do you think Jon Jones legitimately thinks this is not a good matchup and is holding out to keep that undefeated record?
I think Jon Jones...
Well, you say he's not undefeated, which, by the way, I disagree with, but yeah.
What are you talking about? God damn it. Here, let me prove you fucking wrong like I proved Rampage Jackson's black ass wrong. Let me go to...
Throwing 12-6 elbows that he wasn't even really throwing. In a fight, he was completely dominating. I'm not going to count that as a loss.
Let me go to Wikipedia. I said I did Shirt Dog last time. Let me go to Wikipedia.
I just derailed this whole Mighty Recap by saying Jon Jones is undefeated.
Jon Jones. Hang on. Shit, here. Hey Siri, has Jon Jones lost an MMA fight? Yes, never stopped nor outscored during his career. Jones' only professional loss is a controversial disqualification against
Siri knows
Matt
what's up.
Hamill. A result disputed by Hamill and UFC Dana White. That's a loss by disqualification. You lost.
In a rule that does not exist anymore.
Well, guess what?
Good thing it doesn't.
You know what?
So.
If I got pulled over in 1995 for marijuana and I go to jail, and now in 2025, marijuana, you get it on every street corner in America, does that mean I did? Oh, I didn't break the law. I still broke the law. He broke the fucking rules. So he lost. But
on to what we originally said. Do you think this dude? Let's put it straight.
Yeah.
Is he fucking ducking Tom Aspinall, or does he want to get paid? Because
I think Jon Jones, as a martial artist, he is. I think he looks at Tom Aspinall, and I think he does see there's. You can't overlook anybody. I think Tom Aspinall does present some problems that Jon Jones will have to navigate. Do I think he's ducking him? I think you said it best. Jon Jones has all the cards. All the cards are in his hands. Where in a legit sport of mixed martial arts, just like the Westland gangster Chael Sonnen said in the code of RCW11.025, that when you have a healthy champion and you have an interim champion, those two should be fighting. That fight between Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic should have never happened. Stipe Miocic, we love him. Great guy. He got a world title fight against the best athlete in the sport of mixed martial arts, coming off a loss and a long-ass year layoff. It's almost like, I look at it as like
It's 4 years layoff.
4-year layoff. I look at that like Jake Paul beating up all these old ass.
No, it was exactly that.
It's
it was like
that.
a very poor man's version of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
Well,
not to insult Steve Biggs, he's much better than that.
No, not in that context. Why I'm bringing up Jake Paul is that you're telling me that there's nobody else. There's not a 25-year-old boxer in a gym right now who Jake Paul can't fight. You're telling me there's nobody that Jake Paul can fight that's not retired. That's, I'm 8-2 in boxing. I won Golden Gloves. I love boxing. I would love to fight Jake Paul. Why I'm referencing that is that you tell me there's nobody else that Jon Jones couldn't have fight besides Stipe. Like, he could have fought Tom. He could have fought Jailton Almeida.
But that's the craziest thing is Tom, and he said on the podcast, did have a very serious knee injury, right? But that is not why. That has not been played any factor into this layoff. That's what's I think in sports we take for granted how short a prime is of a fighter.
Yeah.
And we are just wasting it.
Yeah.
Wasting it. He is sitting there doing nothing. We really had to sit there and watch Jon. Come on, how's Stipe going to beat Jon Jones?
I knew he wasn't going to be able to beat him.
If he just sat there and let him punch him a couple times, I feel like Jon would have been okay and just shrugged it off and kept going. Like, I don't think there was any. It's like in Avengers when Doctor Strange is like, how many scenarios do we win? I don't think there was even. No, I don't even think there was that with Stipe Jones. I think Doctor Strange would be like,
he's like,
yeah, no, there's zero. Like it's
you have Stipe as Robert Downey Jr. So he goes, Tommy, is this in a fight time? It's not gonna happen.
Like, nothing against Aspinall because it's not his fault.
No,
but if we do not get Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones, that heavyweight title immediately becomes one of the least valuable titles in the UFC. It is not Tom's fault, but you just sit there like, you pull up the rankings. We were looking at it off camera, and it's Tom's knocked out this guy. He's knocked out the only options are Ciryl Gane and Almeida.
He's beat more ranked heavyweights than Jon Jones has.
Oh yeah, well no, that's for sure. I mean, Jon Jones has only beat Ciryl Gane and Stipe, and that's it. Yeah.
Right, and like I said, this is a sport of mixed martial arts where you can get a world title. Look again. Sean O'Malley is getting a title shot off a loss.
No, Jon Jones is the smartest guy in the room, and that's one thing I'll give Jon is he's there. I think there's more to it than people think. It's not so simple of, oh, he's ducking him. Your point was a great point of what if some of it is, hey, I don't have a lot of footage to look at of Tom. So if Tom fights someone while I wait, and then he sees Tom struggle a little bit, or just there's something like, there's a weakness.
Yep.
Maybe, and then maybe he comes out of retirement like, hey, now I'll fight Tom. Like,
well, and here's the thing, right? Like, this is one thing I love about doing this, because we sit here, we talk, and we vibe. We listen to comments, so make sure you guys get active in the comments. And like we said before, the best comment in the YouTube channel and the Spotify, leave us a review in Spotify. We'll get an opportunity to win this glove signed by me and Tom Aspinall. We should get you signing the gloves too.
Yeah, so we'll leave the sweepstake details, but pretty much just leave a comment on the Spotify. Rate Spotify, because when you rate it, I don't know how Spotify works, but when you leave a rating, when you leave a comment, that helps us out a lot. So
yeah. But when you look at, when you look at Jon Jones, I think that maybe he needs more time, but he holds all the cards, and I think that is the hardest thing when you look at this whole scenario. So do
you think it happens? That would, I guess, that would be the finding.
My gut feeling,
I should say next fight.
Yeah,
do you think it happens?
I think the next fight, I do think Jon Jones does fight Tom Aspinall, and I do believe it's going to be at MSG. If I had to put that's what my gut feeling tells me, is that he's going to fight Tom Aspinall, MSG, in November. for that big every year card. Like I feel like the MSG card is almost eclipsing the International Fight Week card. Like I feel like the UFC puts on 2 big cards every single year. One is the International Fight Week and MSG. You can
unless it's UFC 300 was just bananas card, but that was just a special occasion. But
yeah, I think it's always gonna be those 2 big cards are always. You could always see Jon Jones on MSG. I don't know why he likes to fight in New York. It's fucking hella taxis over there, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, and I'm in agreement with you. This might age poorly, but I actually do think it happens. And I will say though, if it doesn't, we got to redo our GOAT. If it doesn't happen, we got to redo our GOAT mountain video because I don't want Jon Jones in. Take his head off that mountain. Like if it never happens, like if you're saying never, I mean, I just don't. I don't even want to acknowledge that Jon Jones was a heavyweight champion if it doesn't happen because he wasn't. If he didn't beat Tom, to me, he's interim. You said Tom Aspinall's an interim champ. I think Jones is an interim champ. To be honest, it's until they fight, it's not undisputed.
Who did? Oh, that's You know, it's very interesting because this is the first time where the heavyweight champion in the UFC left the UFC. Francis Ngannou. He left.
No, exact. That's what fucked everything up.
He left. And then you had Cyril Gane, who lost to Francis.
Exactly.
Beat Jon Jones.
Well, no, lost to Jon Jones, but yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. Jon Jones beat Cyril Gane, became the heavyweight champion. And then you had Stipe, who came off a loss.
Against Ngannou, who left.
Who left.
So no one's the real champion. It's crazy.
So I agree with you. I think this fight, it should happen. Should have happened a long time ago, right? Should happen a long time ago when you had the healthy Jon Jones and you had the healthy.
It should have happened. When it should have happened was instead of the Stipe fight.
That's when it should have happened. Like,
and it's weird for Jones because you said aren't you the same age as Jones? Like that's a big.
He is. I'm 1 year older than him, so he's gonna be 38 this year. So
but either way, though, that year is, I would imagine, significant for Jones. Like, why wouldn't he wanted to fight younger in his? You just get older every year. That kind of surprises me.
I think when you start making, you're successful and you start having different goals in life, you have family, you want to do different projects. That's how I see it. But I still think, all in all, I think that fight should have happened. Jon Jones versus Stipe didn't need to happen. I think it should have been Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Hopefully we get it.
I think it does. I'm in agreement with you. I think it happens. And if it does, I mean, legitimately one of the biggest fights in UFC history.
1,000%.
God, I can't wait just for that build. I can't wait.
Just the build. Now that you came out, you fucking stopped ducking me.
They got to bring back the face to face. Oh my God, if they could just do the DC, pull it from the DC playbook. Jon Jones.
That was a different time. That was a different era.
Bring it back. I want that.
Hey, pussy.
If they actually try for fight promotion for once instead of just a shitty fight poster.
Those days are long gone. We were talking about that, guys. In the comment section below, me and Mike always talk about, and a good friend in the podcast, MMA Guru. He was talking about like how
MMA Guru told me to ask Tom Aspinall about him. Fuck.
Rip.
Well, that would have been fun.
Rip. But like, could you imagine if they did like a legit trailer for that fight? Like, if they did like something like
it would
Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. If they did like a trailer, you know how fucking badass.
But how crazy is that we have to talk about it like it's some thing that wouldn't it be great? Look what boxing did with Usyk Fury. Like it was it was amazing. It was like a movie level freaking. I could go on forever, but not to focus on all the negative stuff. Yeah. Like Tom, I think Tom is like, when you find someone like that, you build the whole company around him. And that's why his loss has been so felt, because to not have one of your biggest draws as champion not fight for a year, it makes these pay-per-views weaker. It makes you just want him. Like, he should be fighting every 6 months.
Twice a year. Yeah. And I think you hit it on the nail when we were talking about the YouTube channel, right? It's like, if he didn't have the YouTube channel, nobody would know what he's been up to. Nobody would know what he's going through in his life. But for him and his producer, Charlie, to produce the YouTube channel, which is pretty good, by the way. So make sure you guys go follow his YouTube channel. It's like... Ours
is better, but yep.
Yeah, I agree too. Come on now. if he didn't do the YouTube channel, we wouldn't know, we wouldn't be up to date. We wouldn't see his personality. We wouldn't be able to see more of him. So I would hope that they finally figure out what he's going to do, whether he fights Jon Jones, Suragan, Volkov, somebody get this healthy, young individual stud a fight. So, boys, if you guys enjoyed this episode of MIGHTYCAST, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live. And like Michael said, he will leave you guys the information to be able to win these gloves. Signed gloves by me and the heavyweight champion of the world, Tom Aspinall. I am your host, Demetrious Johnson. That is my right-hand man, Michael Wansover. And we will see you guys in the next episode of the MIGHTYCAST.